I think the single greatest advantage you have in your 20s is that you can work longer hours. You have fewer social obligations. You probably aren't married. You probably don't have kids. And maybe if you are, it's like you were earlier. And your brain is at its absolute peak. And so those are the advantages you have. The disadvantages are that you don't have experience and you're probably not that good at anything yet. And so the only real action item that I have is just accumulate so much volume in a very narrow space so that you can get good. And once you get good, the rest of the world kind of opens up to you. But it's lacking those foundational skills of whatever income generating opportunity you want to pursue that most people lack. And I think part of that is because they're like unclear on which, path they should pursue. But I think a large part of making that deduction is figuring out, okay, is there some sort of profession that already exists that I want to do? How do I get good at that? That's actually usually relates to very straightforward. The next is like, there's some problem that I've personally suffered from that I can, help other people who, now that I've gotten over it, that I can help someone else get over it too. And then you just have like the interests and hobbies, right? The things that you're very interested in. That one can be dangerous because sometimes, no, you're a singer, you love singing, but no one else likes your singing,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so you probably should, especially in your 20s, already have a pretty strong indication that you're good. Because if you look at the biggest, I'll say just as an example, like pop stars, many of them are already there at that age.
Yeah.
And so if you were good enough, you might have already been discovered. And so I tend to be more practical when it comes to picking those types of paths.
It sounds like you actually still believe in jobs, which is, I think, unusual. Because if you look at a lot of other, I don't like to throw shade, but if you look at a lot of the other sort of online personalities, they're like, careers are for suckers. Entrepreneurship is the only way to go. And I could be reading into your words too much, but it sounded like you didn't throw that option in the trash.
I mean, I'm a big believer in do whatever you want, depending on your goals.
Yeah. Okay.
If you want to become a trillionaire, there's pretty much like one way to do it. If you want to become a millionaire, there's a lot of ways to do it. And so I think it's picking the path that makes the most sense for you. Some people really don't like risk, and I think there's something wrong with that. And rather than shouting at people and saying like there's something wrong with you for not liking this thing, it's like there might be nothing wrong with you. And if you're content with that, then you've already won.
I think a lot of people are well, I'm curious your opinion. I think a lot of people are wired for risk in completely different ways, right? So like I was a kid, looking back, I was always not a daredevil. I wasn't like jumping off the roof of my house into a swimming pool or something like that, probably because we didn't have a pool, but whatever. But I wasn't doing BMX jumps and stuff like that off the bike. But I was always looking for little business ideas and things like that. And I liked the idea of being my own boss, making my own money, controlling my own destiny, if you will. But I didn't really care that much about being rich. I was like, upper middle class lifestyle would be great. I overshot the mark. Boo-hoo, right? I'm doing better than I ever thought I would. But it was never a goal like I have to be rich and prove something to the world. I think a lot of people value stability far more. And I really don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like if you want to have a regular job at a law firm and you're a really good tax lawyer, I just don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't like the narrative that it's like a sucker's play to get a job.
I mean, I had many jobs before I decided to enter entrepreneurship. I think the key is, and this has been said before, but you need to make sure that you're either earning or you're learning. And so if you have the goal to make $100,000 a year, there's plenty of careers that'll help you do that. 200, 250, 500, like you for sure can make that at a company, even $1 million a year. If you're like, I want to make $20 million a year, there's a very small amount of companies that'll do it, and it'll take a long time to get there, probably.
Yeah.
That being said, I think it's like there is no correct answer to a number of eternal questions. How much risk am I willing to take? No one can answer that for you. That's a you question.
I don't even know how you answer that for yourself though. Do you have any idea? I think you just start risking things, and one day if you haven't slept in a week, maybe it's too much risk, or maybe you're just getting used to it. I don't know.
I think you have to reverse engineer it from the goal, right? If you want to, like, there are paths that you can guarantee success. And if you can guarantee success, then why would you risk anything, right? If you want to make $1 million, there's a number of very known things that you can do. And if you just do those things, the likelihood it occurs is super high. If you're like I said, I want to make $100 million, it's riskier. You'll probably have to take on more personal risk in order to do something like that. So I think it should vary based on those things. The worst case scenario is where you have a small goal and take massive risk.
Yeah. Right.
Which happens a lot.
Yeah, see also crypto bros who put their entire small to medium life savings into a shitcoin to get an upside of twice of what they invested.
But to ladder back to what you were originally saying with the job is that, like, jobs are some of the best ways that you can learn skills. And so if you can learn skills and work under someone that you admire, which I think there's probably two of the key, and from the person you admire, you learn other skills, right?
Sure.
If you have those two things, then learn as much as you possibly can. Because sometimes not only like you might learn at a more accelerated rate in that setting and get paid for it. In other settings, you would have to pay your own money or pay your own time in order to learn maybe the same skills, maybe not. But that kind of I use that, like I still think like we do so much training at acquisition.com, and so many people come to work here because they're like, I want to grow. And we create huge opportunities for people to grow. And I mean, we have very well compensated people who work at acquisition.com. So yeah, I wholeheartedly toss out the idea of job or no job. It's just, what are my daily activities? How am I being remunerated, right? How am I getting paid for the stuff I do? And in between those two things, how many skills am I learning? And that could be maximized working on your own or in a job. Like,
yeah, I agree with that. A lot of guys, I usually hear from guys on this career stuff, but I think it's funny because a lot of it's not that women don't ask career questions. They just ask more detailed career questions, and they're usually about building relationships inside of a career and moving ahead. Whereas a lot of the guys are like, how do I get from point A to point Z as fast as possible? It's like a completely different mindset. One of the ideas, I always throw this out there for folks that are listening, which is I think a lot of people who want to be in the C-suite, but they're like 20 something, they're like, God, I have to work for 15 years to even get access to these people. Being the assistant to the people who are at the top of the food chain is one of the best things you can do. There's the head of the power company for which you are now working needs an executive assistant, and that woman is maybe 21, because you need somebody who doesn't have a family, who doesn't have a bunch of obligations, but is smart and conscientious and can travel on their own and handle their own stuff, and also handle his stuff and basically take care of all the business. So now you're in every meeting taking notes for this guy or gal and planning meetings, planning all kinds of stuff. So you're basically like the king's hand in Game of Thrones, but you have a you have an English degree and 0 years of experience. And I think that those kinds of shortcuts can be really good, because that person is infinitely more hireable to move up the food chain faster because they know all of these executive sort of protocols and ways of life. And they're also friends with the CEO and can move maybe downwardly or across the company quite skillfully. I really want to be in HR. Cool. You're now the assistant to the head of HR.
Or in it.
Yeah, or in it. Yeah, exactly. So do you think that getting wealthy is a good goal for everyone? I feel like that's a question that nobody seems to really be asking, because it's assumed that everyone should want to get rich because it's America. I don't really know if that's true. I'm wondering what you think about that.
I mean, I don't think anyone should anything. So I wholeheartedly reject shoulds in general.
Okay.
So, I mean, do what you want. If you have a goal of getting in shape, you want to get married, you want to make money, all of those have clear action steps that you can do to pursue them, and everything that is not those steps is distracting you from them.
I wonder why. Well, I think a lot of folks are like, this guy, he always talks about wealth and generating wealth. Did you care about being wealthy, or did you care more about building something when you were younger?
Oh, no, I wanted to make money.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you
I used
grow
to
up?
joke about the mission of Gym Launch was not be broke. That was the mission of the company.
It's a low bar.
Yeah. And so that's, obviously we became not broke through that business, and then, continued to make money after that. But I think you have to kind of like put your life mask on or your air mask on before you can think really big. Like, it's very difficult, or I have yet to meet somebody who is thinking about a 10-year vision for their life when they can't pay rent.
Oh, for sure that.
And so it's like we have to solve the immediate problems first. And so that's where sometimes having the job can be, really advantageous, because I mean, it's the 5 to 9 where everyone loses everything, not the 9 to 5, right? You're not working from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. You're not working from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And those are 8 hours per day, every single day. Plus you got weekends. It's like you have more hours not at work than you have at work. And your job isn't the thing that's preventing you from getting to where you want to go, assuming you don't have what you already want right now.
Sure. Yeah. I think there's a sort of epidemic of people not being satisfied unless they can.
You mean humans?
Yeah, human nature. It's called this pesky thing called human nature.
Yeah.
And I love that, but I think it also makes people miserable, because it's good to have the carrot dangling slightly in front of you. I think it's really bad to have the carrot seemingly miles out in front of you, because it's demotivating.